Track 47, page 89, Activities 2 and 3.
It's 8:10. Let's catch up on local news, read by Kathy Davies.
Firefighters are tackling a large fire at the Newton recycling plant in Weybridge. The fire broke out early this morning and involves about 15,000 tonnes of waste and plastic. By the time the emergency services were contacted, the fire was blazing out of control. We spoke to Fire Chief Colin Anderson.
We're monitoring the weather and wind patterns very closely. We're also liaising with environmental services for any possible impact on health and the local environment.
Local farmer Harry Elcock, who has a farm near the plant, said that the fire grew very quickly.
I woke up at about 5 o'clock as usual. Then all of a sudden I heard a huge explosion. I looked out of the window and saw all this black smoke and flames. The smoke seemed to fill the sky in minutes.
This is the second incident at the Newton plant in a month. The police have said that this latest fire will need investigation. There was a special dance event at Basildon Park on Saturday night. A Huntington DJ was performing in front of an audience of over 1,000 people just 1 month after a terrible driving accident had nearly ended her life. 26-year-old Sally Lomax was holidaying in Italy when she lost control of her motorbike and crashed into a tree. Nobody else was hurt, but Sally, who was rushed to a nearby hospital, was in a coma and doctors feared for her life. She needed 30 stitches in her arm, but after she'd regained consciousness, Sally knew she had to get back to the UK to continue her career.
Being a DJ is the most important thing in my life. I'd never missed a gig, and I didn't intend to miss one now.
The concert, given in the grounds of Basildon House, was a huge success. So, what's next for Sally?
I have a gig in London next weekend, and I'm definitely going to be there. You only have one life, so if you get a chance, then go for it.
Track 48, page 54, Exercise Book, Activities 1 and 2.
As a search and rescue dog handler, I know how important these dogs are in the search for survivors after disasters like earthquakes, tsunamis and avalanches. The use of search and rescue dogs dates back to the early 18th century, when monks living in a part of the Swiss Alps, called the St. Bernard Pass, used a breed of mountain dog to help find survivors after avalanches or severe snowstorms. In any rescue operation, time is of the essence. For example, after an avalanche, 90% of victims are still alive 15 minutes after they've been buried under the snow. But 20 minutes after that, only 30% of them are alive. If a search and rescue dog is on the scene quickly enough, an avalanche victim's chances of survival increase greatly. One single search and rescue dog can do the work of at least 20 to 30 people. Their keen sense of hearing and excellent ability to see clearly in the dark are extremely useful in locating survivors. However, their success is mainly down to their sense of smell. A dog's sense of smell is about 40 times better than a human's. We humans are pretty smelly, and we're always dropping bits of dead skin all over the place. Pretty disgusting if you think about it. However, those dead skin cells, called rafts, are crucial for search and rescue dogs. The smell of those cells is unique to each individual, and this is how the dog works out who it is looking for. Dogs are trained in different ways to work in different types of disasters. Some dogs are tracking dogs, while others are air scent dogs. Tracking dogs do all their sniffing work on the ground. They will pick up a human scent from a piece of clothing that belonged to a missing person, and all of a sudden they're on their way. I guess you'd say they follow the person's tracks rather than search for them. Air scent dogs, on the other hand, pick up any human scent from anywhere. This type of dog is particularly useful for finding missing people on mountains, people buried after earthquakes or in avalanches. All search and rescue dog handlers are volunteers. We do it to help save people's lives. But we also do it for the love of our dogs. Search and rescue dogs really are amazing creatures.
Track 49, page 91, Activities 2 and 4.
Have you heard the news?
What news?
You know, the history exam we've got at the end of the month. Well, it's been cancelled.
I don't believe it.
It's true. Mr. Jenkins has decided it would be better if we did a project instead.
That's fantastic.
I thought you'd be pleased.
Talking about exams, did you hear about Kevin? Kevin Blake?
No? What's he done?
He had a maths exam last week, at university. It was really important, and he was incredibly stressed out. So he was studying 24/7, and when he went to bed, he couldn't sleep. All he could think about was the exam. So guess what happened in the end?
What?
He fell asleep during the exam.
No. Really?
Yeah.
That's terrible. The poor thing.